This is your coronavirus info for Thursday, January 29th, 2020. Chinese officials have confirmed 132 deaths due to the virus out of a total of 6,078 cases, an increase of over 1,000 cases in 24 hours. February 23rd, 2020. The World Health Organization stressed that, quote, the window of opportunity is narrowing, end quote, for containment. The CDC is preparing. This is Coronavirus 411, the latest COVID-19 info, just the facts, for Sunday, March 15th, 2020. The Vice President announced that all travel to the UK and Ireland will be suspended as the number of countries on that list grows to 28. The UK is advising against all but essential travel to the US. Citizens returning to major US airports in an effort to beat the travel restrictions report long lines, confusion, and crowded situations that could lead to unnecessary.
I remember, I'll talk about when I knew that, like, the world was shutting down, or like,
yeah, that's a good one.
Like, the school was being canceled. I was at a bowling tournament. Yeah, I was at a bowling tournament. Okay. Yeah, it was like this singles bowling tournament in like early March, and I remember as we were like in the finals, we got an email that said like, "Hey, spring break's gonna go on along like another extra week."
Welcome everyone. I'm County Executive Joe Parisi. As the prevalence of COVID-19 around the U.S. is increasing, so is the understandable concern all of us have for the well-being of our families and our community. Dane County government is actively planning, should the need arise, for us to adjust operations.
I will say, I mean, like, nothing will match the loneliness I felt during the pandemic, I don't think. I think that's a pretty universal thing that, like, people could agree on. Like, sure, I had friends to talk to every day, and, like, I would game from 8 a.m. to 2 in the morning with them. But, like, I wasn't there with them. I couldn't dap them up. I couldn't, like, hug them. I couldn't, like, see their mouth in front of me laughing at a joke I made. Nothing will, like, compare to that being lonely during the pandemic. My relationship with, at least, my phone changed a lot between, like, before and after. Like, I talked to my friends on my phone, and, like, I would send them memes on Instagram, and, like, you know, we would talk on Discord, like, that kind of stuff. But then, once the pandemic happened, that became, like, the only way I could talk to them. The pandemic was, like, a big reason I built my PC, too. Like, I had a lot of friends who gamed on computer, and I had a console, and they were all, like, on Discord, or, like, those kinds of platforms, and I wanted to play with them. So, like, I ended up building a computer for gaming, but then it also ended up being my school computer. That I just, like, didn't use so I just didn't use my Chromebook anymore.
Do you think that people in our generation are lost?
I'm so lost.
Yeah. Like,
bro, I'm so lost. I mean, the last 2 years have been, honestly, the happiest, saddest, depressing, joyous, and, like, confusing but also exciting time of my life. I've just changed so much as a person, and, like, found who I was, or at least am beginning to find who I am, like, outside of my parents' house, outside of a really structured society or a structured environment like high school, in, like, this little bubble. I'm not ready to give up this, like, sort of naivety about me, this, like, headstrong feeling of, like, yeah, I can take on the world. And I'm already kind of losing that a little bit as, like, student loans rack up, and that, like, I have to afford rent, and, like, my savings are gone.
For our county and our state. And we were hopeful that maybe we would see case counts go down as the community realized the seriousness of the situation. But now, we are in a moment where we see the pandemic continuing to head in the wrong direction. While this pandemic is hard to predict, we are seeing the strain on our public health systems, and we are worried about what further spread of this disease might mean for our community.
this world is so obsessed with productivity and efficiency and like economics that, and I don't know if it'll ever change. I just think that's kind of how the world works. But I would hope to see a shift in like attention towards creativity or attention towards exploration as opposed to success.